Oh crap, it's just, I was in way over my head.
Everyone's self-employed.
Yeah,
So I tried to herd cats, I imagine.
well, that and just trying to manage people's egos, manage people's desires, what they wanted, and understanding that. But I had to find out who I was, what I brought to the table first. And that was the biggest part. Like, I didn't understand the value I had. It was my self-worth and confidence, which I still struggle with. That's probably one of my biggest challenges. And after 3 years, looking back, and I, shit, was I ever right? I wish I could start over again. But I didn't have the confidence then.
You struggle with that, because even myself, I've done a lot of stuff, but in my head, I think it's an inkling. I don't consider myself a real estate huge investor, but yet I've done a lot more than more people, but I still think it's just a pittance, right? So there's so much more, because I'm constantly learning, and so are you,
Yeah.
that it's like, okay, there's so much more out there. I've only really scraped, like,
Yeah.
so you just feel.
Yeah, and I think that, so coming back to this independence thing or whatever, it's not good or bad. Get out of the realm of thinking everything is good or bad. Everything has advantages and disadvantages. The advantages of separating ourselves from culture is that we are going to grow in magnificent ways. Our family's going to be better off. Everything's going to be changed in our lives. Everyone around us will affect people differently, okay? The disadvantage is sometimes we get stuck ourselves because of what we're doing. And I think that's a really important thing to think about constantly, is that there are advantages and disadvantages. If you think of the world as good and bad, what you will do, so think about your emotional brain now. If you think in black and white pictures in the world of good versus bad, what your emotional brain is doing is, that's bad so I stay away from it, that's good so I can move towards it. That's too simplistic in life. You're not going to be really successful in life if that's where you're at. Having said that, if we change it and just ask every situation, what are the advantages and what are the disadvantages? What are the advantages of being independent? What are the disadvantages of being independent? Then I go, okay, so these are the advantages, I want to work with these are the disadvantages, how do I work with that? Or how do I delegate it up? Or how do I, like, that's how a business person thinks, right? There was one other thing with that. Or yeah, so what are the advantages or disadvantages of being a leader or having two leaders in the same room? It's not good or bad. What are the advantages? What are the disadvantages? How do we work with the disadvantages to move on? Like, it's just, I think when we get to that process, instead of judging and going, that's good, I'll move towards it, that's bad, I stay away from it, we go, I wonder what's going on here.
You have to adapt, and adapting is actually growing.
Yes,
because
absolutely.
It's like trying something different, and then it works, and it works better, right?
Yeah.
Or it can go the opposite way too. But
How many of you know Ken's story of why he went to Edmonton and came back and that part of his life?
Part of it, I don't
No,
know.
yeah,
The story.
just a little bit.
Would you mind sharing a little bit about that?
Was it too traumatic?
No, I got over her. Finally remembered her name, I blocked her. So I was invited, so I've known Darren since early 2000s, and I was introduced to him and followed him because of Robert Kiyosaki and the similar beliefs. And so I put Darren up here in my world, you know, Robert and then Darren and then whatever. And I kept going, so as Darren got to know me, I'll go back even further because there's a lot of stuff's coming in here. It's faster than I can think of. So I've told you I'm an introvert. I'm very shy. Put me in a strange room. I'm the person in the back row, the back corner. I never raise my hand, and I just listen and take everything in. But I knew that in order to change my life and be successful, I had to change who I was. So as painful as it was, I would always sit front and center. And every time I did that, Darren would recognize me. Oh, what are you doing? What are you doing? And eventually, you want to raise some capital? And I said, well, absolutely. He said, great, get up here on the stage. Oh, just all these fears come flooding in. But he challenged me in a lot of good ways. And things evolved. He was after us for Joanne in particular to quit her job so we could focus just on this. And Joanne has her own paradigms to deal with, so that wasn't going to happen. And he wanted us to move out west. That wasn't going to happen because of Joanne and the kids and so forth. Eventually, Joanne realized that I wanted to do this. Well, Darren invited me out west to meet, I can't think of the gentleman's name. He was a very creative real estate guy from the States. He said, this guy's coming up, I think you should meet him. Come on out. So I fly out. And you have to keep in mind also, I mean, all those trips I took out west were on my dime. I never got paid a cent from Darren to speak at any of those events, ever. It was just all for the experience. So paid for my flights, paid for my hotel, the whole bit. And he says, you should come out. And first thing I'm thinking is, well, dollars. You know, I've only got so many dollars to be spending on this. But I went out, and during the course of 2 or 3 days, the conversation switched, and Darren said he wanted to start a real estate brokerage. And I said, well, if Joanne's willing to move out, I'll do it. So that's how it got started in the spring of 2010. I moved out the fall of 2010. Joanne and I were apart for a little over a year, and I would travel back and forth a little bit. And I had to, because in order to start a brokerage, you need to be a broker. So I can get my real estate license again, quick and easy, but that doesn't solve the brokerage aspect. So I had to find somebody with a broker's license that we could bring in an ideal world, temporarily. But to get somebody to commit to that was a bit of a stretch. So I found this one fellow, David, and he came in. And it's not that I don't like David, but we never connected. Like 2 different lifestyles and the whole bit. So, and he was looking at it purely from a financial perspective. I was looking at it from giving back and building something. And I had a very clear plan in my head, slow and steady and whatnot. And I sold him on that. And things were moving along okay, not as fast as what Darren liked. Darren is get in there, do it big, do it fast, and move on. So there was a bit of conflict there. And then when Fast Track Capital got into some financial stress, that created stress on us because there was no more money coming in from Fast Track to support us in the startup. There was a lot of pressure on us now to start selling more, and an opportunity presented itself. David, my partner, knew this woman who was a very successful real estate agent and a very big personality, very strong personality. So he invited her in, and she and I just clashed right off the get-go. But Darren liked her because she could do something big and fast, and she would promise everything. And that's where my world just fell apart at that point in time, because I lost control of everything. And her personal mandate came to the point where she said, my goal is to get you out of here. Oh, well, thank you very much. And so I know where I stand now. And so the whole dynamics of everything just changed in there. And I eventually just said, enough is enough, I don't need this, and I came home. But everything was fine when it was Darren and I. And there was only a couple people in the company, one being Amardeep, the accountant, who had my back with respect to finances and whatnot. Because I actually lent money to the business as well during that hard time. And that stays in this room, by the way. So, lent a substantial amount of money to help, because it was desperate when Fast Track Capital was being under the Securities Commission, because all money just stopped. So I was helping with the company, and then things went south very quick with this other woman, and I could see the writing on the wall, and so could Amardeep. And he, bless his soul, he made sure I got my money back out of that company before I left, because there wasn't much money in the company to take out of it at that point in time. So yeah, so moving forward, the biggest lesson I've learned from there is not the skill set people bring to the table. It's the why. That's why I love that little film clip with Simon Sinek so much. It just speaks to me. When I came home with the the property management company, we had a very toxic woman working in the company managing our condos. And she did her job fine, but her attitude was just toxic. And nobody wanted to be there, so I sold half the company. And she went with it because she was managing the condos. So we sold those contracts. And but we were doing such a good job. We had a non-compete clause for 2 years, but we still took on, within a year, we were bigger than we were before. Because other people kept coming to us and saying, well, we want you. I said, well, no, we have this non-compete. Well, we're not hiring them, regardless. So we got back into it, and I put it out there that this is the type of person I want. I want them to have the same values, I want them to have the same goal. And the only way I could do that, and this is very uncomfortable for Joanne to do, because Joanne is an extremely private person. She's very successful at what she does because she asks lots of questions. But if you ask her lots of questions, good luck getting answers. So she doesn't like sharing our big picture, our big vision. But that's what I do, is I'll share my big picture, my big vision. And if you like that and we connect, then we'll move forward and I'll invite you in to be part of that. And if it doesn't, if it works, great. And if it doesn't work, that's fantastic. That's okay too. It's to have the right people with, the skill sets secondary. So I found this one woman, she quit a higher paying job than what we could afford to pay her. She came and worked for us, and she took all the condo courses on her own time. She shows up, we're supposed to be there from 8:30 to 4:30. Well, she's there by 8 o'clock. And she stays till 5:30. She goes to the evening meeting. She never complains about that. So although she's still an employee, she's a partner in that sense, like that mindset. So that's what I learned from all of that experience, and that's what I bringing forward. And I'm very, very slow, very, very particular. What do they say? Hire slow, fire fast.
Yeah.
And so that's now moving forward. And we're stuck with the property management company right now because, and I say we're stuck because Joanne is stuck because she doesn't want to open up and just release control. So until she gets over that roadblock, that property management company is stuck. Yeah.
As big as I could.
Well, yeah, we could take on a ton because we do a great job and people love the work we do.
It's hard to find a good property manager.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. So,
But it's also hard to demand pay for good property management services,
well, and that's
if they're worthy.
yeah, because I mean, the challenge right now with the property management company is they don't charge enough.
Yeah.
They charge the commission, the percentage, but where you make money in a property management company is all the additional things. Like Susan we have to pay Susan when she goes to these meetings, but they're not paying any extra money for that. When the contractors are there to do an assessment on the building and it takes 3 hours of Susan's time, the condo corp isn't paying for that, we're paying for that. And that's taking her away from other roles and jobs as well.
Yes, you need multiple properties to make it work, right?
Multiple properties, plus you need to have a better structure with respect to the fees. But then the challenge is, well, I can get property management for 6% down the street. Okay, but what are they doing? What are they providing? And how are they going to, when shit hits the wall, how do they react? And, yes, we charge a fill rate. Yes, we charge, extras, and it's going to cost you more, but your vacancies are going to be lower. Therefore, your profit's going to be higher. Therefore, your building's going to be more valuable. And so it's to show them all that.
Plus, you always, from a business standpoint, the more properties I have, the more of a discount I want too, right?
Yeah.
So that trickles down too, right? And it's just like, no.
So it's very hard to make money in a property management company because of that.
Joanne and Ken's property management company is exactly what I would want my property manager to do.
Oh, yeah.
And it's so difficult to find, but it's counterintuitive because we're always looking for deals.
Yes.
And this is costly up front, but saves depending on portfolios, saves millions of dollars in the future, right? It's so much better, but it's tough on some
Yeah.
parts. It's not
Yeah.
what people think.
When we sold the business, the building that we actually occupy our office in was part of that portfolio that got sold. And the owner hated the new property management company, but we were still managing it, but not officially managing it. And then when she wanted to sell the property, she sold it through us. And the person who bought the building, they said, well, we don't want that management company, we want you. So we got the damn thing back again. Just can't get rid of it. Yeah,
So some of those ones that are avidly coming after you, can't you increase the price? Yes or no?
I can.
Yeah.
Can I get Joanne to?
Oh, okay. See, that's my line of thought. Now you can offset the people that have multiple properties by evening it out rather than losing them, right?
See, what I want to do, what my hope was that Susan would be keen enough to want to take the company over. Now, she's not quite as competent as I thought she would be, but she could still take the company over. And I would like somebody to step in and do that, and we just sort of step back, and we would be consultants or whatever, just to help them.
Yeah.
So we don't want to make any money off it, we just want to maintain the company. Well, and the reputation, like our name is out there attached to this now.
Yeah.
And if we just sell the company and the name to Joe Blow, and it goes, gone through that process with the campground, I mean,
Yeah.
I keep my head low when I go up there, so.
Is that close to here?
Yeah, it's only 15 minutes from here.
So when I hear Ken's story, whenever I think about it, I think about Ken and who he is and his advantages, right? But I also constantly am going, like I think about Darren, I think about this other this woman that came into the company, and I think
Her
about
name's Bitch. It's funny because I don't dislike people very much. Like there's very few people.
She made the short list, eh?
Oh,
Yeah.
she is the list.
yeah.
She's just one nasty woman. Sorry.
I think about Darren. So Darren has accomplished a lot of really interesting things in a relatively short time. He's still a younger guy, right? Yet at the same time, I look at him and I think about back to this experience for everyone last night, and go, we are the way we are for a reason. So again, forget about good, bad. There is a reason. We protect ourselves. We do things. We're more independent because we get more things done. We're more competent than other people around us. There are lots of different reasons. Okay. And yet, how do we need to grow in certain ways so that we can realize so much more? Darren hired somebody with certain talents. Okay. Now, Ken's got weaknesses too, like me, like everyone, right?
What?
But
No.
his strengths of integrity,
Yeah.
those strengths were not recognized in that company.
Yeah, for sure. That shows through on him, but definitely not in Darren.
Right.
Yeah.
So because those weren't recognized, and because Darren, and I don't know Darren, okay? So just so you know, I've never met the guy. I've never been to any of his events. I have no
You
contact.
don't want to. Sorry, Ken. I'm your friend.
But for me, when I just hear the story, I go, Darren hired people like him. Right? Now, again, what's the advantage of being in a group or hiring or whatever, working closely with people like you? Well, there are advantages and disadvantages, right? Like you two found last night, not that you're the same, but there are certain similarities, so you've got to figure it out. And if you figure it out, great. Now you've got a kind of, it's more like 3 times 3 instead of 1 plus 1, right? It's multiplied. To go with the book, it's u squared, right? Having said that, what are some of the things that you need to think about and leverage? I think about that stuff all the time. How do we work together? How do you find what you need? It's not about good or bad. What?
It takes a while too, because as an independent or a person being different,
Yeah.
you're used to doing everything yourself, and it's very hard. It took me years to look at this. I'm only getting to it now, but to find areas that you lack and I'm just now filling those spaces in business.
Yeah.
Like I suck at management.
Yeah.
I like I can see a deal, I can do a number. Doesn't matter if it's business or real estate, I can project what I'm gonna make in the end.
Yeah.
This is the middle part I hate.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, then I pick that off and I wanna go on to the next one.
Yeah.
But now I'm slowly getting people in to fill the middle gaps that I'm not really no good at, I just don't wanna do.
Well, you might lack experience
Yeah.
or skilling, but also you
Yeah.
don't want to do. So why would you learn it? So here's a question for everyone. How many of you, because I wasn't hearing this, how many of you had a situation in your room where one person told another person, you focus on this while I focus on this? Like how many times was that communicated?
Happened a few times.
We just kinda did that.
We sort of did it intuitively,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
there wasn't any direct delegation
Okay.
like that.
No.
But we just sort of, like, I saw them working on something, and so I would sort of focus on something else. And
Okay.
not talk.
Were you intimidated by the other person at all? So I don't want to challenge you. You just step back.
I always let it sit for a while, because I'm like you, if it goes south, then I gotta take over. But she was doing a good job, so then I'm like, okay, how can we divide and conquer pretty much? If she was doing a bad job, then there would have been conflict. But, but she was doing good, so then it was like, okay, let's try and figure this out and work together. And we just fit the puzzle perfect, so it was just easy.
You just do what you're doing. I get it.
It was funny in that room with Charlotte, is that right?
Mhm.
Brad, they were so official in that radio right away, and
Well, she grabbed it. I was like,
okay, I thought it was part of the game.
short of a tug of
I
war.
couldn't even make that those were my teammates. I was like trying to listen to what's going on because I mean it's not natural for Brad to just have very great radio communication. I thought it was the game.
That's gotta be.
I recognize the radio procedure right away.
Yeah,
There's gotta be
I got the
clues
course
of
on
what's
that one
going on, right? So it took her attention away.
The army stuff kind of threw me off.
Oh,
The vector.
Airplane was on TV.
Over a hill.
It's your clearance, Clarence.
And Charlotte and I had to go like almost to the same door to talk through the radio because it was breaking up. Like
Yeah.
when you,
Yeah, because I wasn't letting go early.
yeah,
Because,
it was in the beginning. I think we
Yeah,
were
'cause-
missing.
Okay,
something.
so you
What
know what
would you
happened
button
there?
down?
That was communicated really well between you two. What happened there was Charlotte and Brad started talking at the same time.
oh, that's what
And
happened.
it was no one's fault. You just hit the button right at the same time. So there was this garbled thing that you and I would have heard, and you guys were talking, but no one else was hearing it. And I was really
Sounded like
curious to see what
backhoe
happened.
backing up.
Because they're like, well, I'm not. I know that can be a very typical thing. People will let go of the button before they finish their sentence. We're doing that. So then I was really slow. 2, 4.
Actually, then you
Yeah.
banged on the door.
Yeah.
Listen, you
Who is
back.
it? Who is over there?
Take your finger off the button.
That's what Paul said. What do you feel?
I had a hard time.
Like, I had no problem talking to the first guy on the radio.
I couldn't even remember who I was, what team I was. I just hear these teams and things. Those team names, that didn't sound like my team. It sounded like I'm engineering or
Are you chemistry? Are you
chemistry. And I kept losing in my
Did they
mind.
just say they were chemistry?
Yeah.
It was so hard to
Were you laughing?
wrap your mind around it.
I had a hard time not using like pretty strict radio procedure and being a lot more conversive than because
It was distracting, wasn't it?
it was because I
You want to
had
get on the line, you want to correct that person and say.
there's lots of things that and that's just like my
What's your 20? I'm
background.
stuck in a room.
Yeah, like just, but I had to. I like talking on the radio.
Yeah.
For whatever reason, it's fun. Walkie-talkies have always been fun.
Yeah.
The kids have them. It's like
That's probably why you got into the military, wasn't it?
That was a big round. That and machine guns. Yeah.
Do you know what the success rate for that room is for first time groups?
For everything, for the three.
So the way it works in that room, without giving anything away, is you started in your own 3 individual rooms.
Yeah.
Then there's a second 3 individual rooms.
Yep.
And then you come together and get into another room after that.
Yeah.
What's the success rate to complete everything?
How far did they get?
They got So with a bunch of help at the end, they got to maybe 75% done, okay?
Because the last 5 minutes we went, okay, we need a clue.
Yeah.
Because we're running out of time.
Well, and
So
he
that's
helped
gonna
at 30 minutes left.
You
So he was halfway through, and you guys weren't done the first rooms yet.
Yeah.
There's only one group that was through the first room. So that, he went in there and actually gave you tips there too.
Yeah.
So with all those tips, you got about 75% done. What's the success rate?
80%.
8. You say 8 and you say 80?
Yeah.
Not very much.
What do you guys think?
15.
Charlotte, you're on the ball. It's 15%.
Yeah.
15%. It's very low.
Yeah.
Very low. And I was wondering, I mean, I worded that a specific way, talking about how you were only done this much and you, yeah. I don't think and he also said, within the first 15 minutes, Ben Wallace said within the first 15 minutes, he can tell whether people will finish it or not. With a high degree of accuracy. He said sometimes he's wrong, with a high degree of accuracy. Because
he
he
knew
see
that.
how people are thinking.
And
And he knew it was not gonna happen. Having said that, he also said there's a huge difference between people who have done it before and people who haven't. Because again, you said the first room was so difficult. He said, yeah, for first time groups, and this makes sense, for first time groups, you have to figure out what you don't know. You have to figure out what you need to start working on, and that takes a period of time. So, I mean, if you did that room again, or a different room, in the same format, you guys would rock it fairly quickly, I believe. It would be completely different. But it's because you just have that experience of going, oh, now I know kind of things to look for. So if this has no correlation with anything else, it's useless information, and I'll move on to something else, or whatever, right?
Yeah, because the second room went faster
Yeah.
than the first room did.
Well, the first
I
one,
think
we were
it took us
still
a long
waiting
time
for,
to-
like, okay, what are we doing, right?
Yeah.
We were waiting for some instruction for some reason,
Yeah.
for a while.
Yeah.
Dude.
Which that's cultural too.
Yeah.
That we always wait for an authority figure to tell us what to do, right? That's hard to change. Even as independent business people, it's hard to change. Hmm.
Well, that was actually the door. We were like, okay, what do we do? And then we did it, and we're like, what the hell?
Yeah, so the door, and that must have thrown you guys off because
The original door would not open. We had
No.
a lock, so that
We did it
wasted a lot of
twice.
time.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were saying,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
come give us the key to open it.
Yeah.
It's like, wow.
and
used the
he
master
said
key.
this doesn't happen very often. Every once in a while it happens. So
We used the master key.
yeah.
Slid a credit card in.
Okay, that's what it is.
Bob didn't work.
It was actually interesting also the comment that you made, or somebody made, that there was no instructions, so you just,
Yeah.
well, I think Brad made that, so you're lost for a little bit. I did an exercise and where there were no rules to this game, and I was the banker, and I'm looking for structure. What can I do? What can I do? Yeah, you can do whatever you want.
What's a
You're the banker.
security exchange say?
Yeah.
What is the
And,
first step?
so I just, started doing whatever I wanted, but it took me a long time to get over that mindset or accept that I can do whatever I want. What I took from actually it just hit me now, is that that's how I think in real life, but I couldn't apply it there. But in real life, you talk about banking rules, well, yeah, there's banking rules, but it doesn't mean you have to follow them. There's rules if you borrow money from them. Sure, but I mean, can you do 150% financing on a property? Absolutely you can. Nothing to say you can't do it. Banks won't do it, but, so it's just a matter, it's just think differently, we're just so trained to follow the rules and the structure. And in military, I assume it's to say, you get up in the morning, you're told what to do. If you're not told what to do, you're just sort of, well, hang on, what do we do?
See, that's interesting, because I found that there's more structure in that than I'm used to.
Yeah.
That whole room, it was structured.
Mhm.
If you didn't do this step first, you couldn't do the next.
Yeah, well, there's the processes of doing that, but,
To me, that's very structured. That's,
Hmm.
but you weren't told how to do that though.
but I'm not told on a daily basis either.
Yeah, that's your norm.
So what you're saying is you should have got out of those rooms, no problem.
Yeah, my team was holding
It was fun because I don't think I'd add anything to what you guys have brought out yourselves. You you were very aware of what was going on for yourselves. And it was interesting watching. I would watch one room for just a period of time and watch how communication is happening without listening to it, so that's difficult. But just watching body language and watching where people are sitting. Sam, you're going to start with a support role. You just sit back and watch. And I don't know how much you talk. How much did you communicate with your team?
Not too much, but
Yeah.
we just.
When he did, he was usually right though.
Yeah, so I think that's Sam's style, right? He sits back and he just watches. So like Benoit at one time said, "What's that guy doing?" and I said, "That's Sam. He's sitting back and watching. He's paying
It's just a bystander.
yeah, yeah, and paying attention." So here's the challenge for right now. On one side, you know your roles and you know what your strengths are. Great. How do you tweak some things in your life, in your patterns, so that you can get so much more? How do you tweak the patterns in your life so that you can get so much more? What could be improved a little bit? Because sometimes it's not a major change, right? Sometimes a little tweak makes a massive difference. Massive difference. So you've got, for example, Charlotte and Daryl, you've got a dynamic and a pattern of relating to each other, and it works. Those are the hardest patterns to change because they work well, and we know they work well. And yet, if there was a tweak, could they be excellent instead of good? Do you know what I mean? And so look for those tweaks. Over this next year, constantly having that come up in your mind at different times. If somebody says, "You do this well," have it come up in your mind, "I wonder what I could do better." I mean, let it sink in and go, "Yeah, I do that well." But then go, what could I tweak here? Or if there's something that you're lacking and you don't like doing or whatever, how can I delegate? How can I leverage somebody else to be doing this? And have a win-win. When I talk about leverage, I think sometimes I'm saying it in a way and people are like, "Don't leverage people." I'm like, "Well, no, they're leveraging me too. It's business relationship."
It can be beneficial for them if you wanted a win-win.
Yeah.
When it doesn't work is when you're leveraging people for your own.
Abusing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What about the dynamics of, like say, the two of them wanting, so you've been together a long time, you work well together, you understand each other very well. You want to bring a third party into the equation. How is that? I mean, even
We would have worked well.
well, even outside of real estate, but I mean, even as for Joanne and I to find another couple that we both connect with and resonate with really, really well is very difficult. We have found that couple, but I think that's a huge challenge. And then if you add on the additional stress or pressure of finding that person who's going to be a business partner as well, because you each have different dynamics and you can have different expectations. And then so that's the third person. Now you want a fourth person. Now you got three people in that one. And then as you keep building a team, it becomes more complex.
Yeah, 3 plus 1 doesn't equal 4 with a team, right? 3 plus 1 equals like 12. And so you get crazy math.
In what sense?
Just because there's so many more dynamics. It's just not one more dynamic, it's a few dynamics every time you add one person.
So as a challenge rather than a strength, you mean?
Yes.
Okay, gotcha.
Yes. It can happen with strengths too, but I think it's a little more difficult for most people.
So it's squared or cubed.
Yeah, there's always this weird math going on. So one other thing that I wanted to kind of think about and talk about a little bit is the role of failure. Role of failure. I was actually talking with Joseph a couple days ago, but there are many roles of failure, and when we hear quotes like everything you want is on the other side of fear, everything you want is on the other side of failure. We hear those kind of quotes. Here's one way I just came across the thought of failure again, and I thought that's really important. I want to make sure I mention that to this group this weekend. Was failure shows you where your current limits are. Failure shows you where your current limits are. So you can fail, great, keep going crazy until you fail and you go, oh, I need to learn something, or I need to delegate, or I need to grow the skill, or whatever.
It's like your chart.
Yes,
constantly
yes,
growing, right?
perfect. So failure, learning period. Failure, learning period. Failure, learning period. And that's actually opposite of how most people think. They're thinking good, bad, right? But no, failure, learning path. Failure,
It's 100% true because I've failed a lot.
anyone who's successful has. Anyone who's successful has. You want to watch the Simon Sinek thing?
Sure.
I want to go through that as well.
I can never not watch that, so,
Yeah, I've got the. Do you want the 5-minute version or the 18-minute version?
18.
Okay. I'll just make sure that it's up here.
I just wanted to say, working with these guys, it was an easy dynamic to break into because you can see the dynamic like that. It's like boom, it's in your face. But when you're working with people that you don't know where the dynamic is, it'd be harder to break
Yeah.
into, right?
Yeah.
But it's like, okay, now you can figure out and work as a group and help and utilize Daryl more and let her go on her way and I'll go on my way and push everyone together. But when you don't see that dynamic right away and had to figure it out, we'd still be in the first room.
And that's part of your strength too, is noticing that. It's more difficult for leaders often to see this is already working.
Yeah.
I need to figure out something else. Oh, and I love that process of going like, okay, I'm gonna wait for the failure so I can step in, and then going, oh, there's a competence here.
Yeah, exactly.
So I'm gonna have to find something else.
Yeah.
Make sure my sound is up. So this is continuing with the why, okay? So we're gonna revisit a lot of topics we talked about yesterday. Go through them again.
How do you explain when things don't go as we assume? Or better, how do you explain when others are able to achieve things that seem to defy all of the assumptions?